Welcome into the I-80 Boys College Football Show rivalry weekend, Chris. Here we've got a Nebraska versus Iowa preview. I'm going to start off here with the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Chris, coming off an emphatic win. First time it was 8 years the Cornhuskers are going to be going to a bowl game. They got the monkey off their back. They resurrected some demons, it looked like, on offense. They put up over 40 points last week against Wisconsin. And it was just to me, it was a complete game. It was kind of a shocker considering what Wisconsin had did the week prior against Oregon, the number one team in the country. They held them real close. I think coming into this game, here's the thing that I want to see. Was last week a fluke? Was it an outlier? Did they get a beat up, Wisconsin team that had kind of blown their nut the prior week? Is Dana Holgorsen, is his offense, is it a real deal? A lot of questions kind of coming into this one. Got 2 games left in the season yet if you're in Nebraska. Obviously, the game against Iowa, then the bowl game, whatever that'll be. All attention is turned towards Iowa. The last time Nebraska played Iowa, Chris, we know exactly what happened at Iowa, not at Nebraska, at Iowa. Night game, Nebraska won it in shocking fashion there. I think very similar. We'll get to that point here in a minute, what I think is going to happen with that one. I think, this offense is going to be run by Dylan Raiola here. I thought he's looked a lot better last week. Kind of in the mid part of the season, though, there was a skid there. The offense looked like it couldn't run the football. It looked like that put more pressure on him and the offensive line and the receivers to try to make things happen, and it didn't always happen. It kind of was, without that ability to run the football, they were kind of one-dimensional in that way. They're not like a Colorado yet where they can just throw it a million times a game and put up a million points a game either. Because of that, I think Raiola's had to be better. I think, this receiving game with guys like Isaiah Nayer and Banks, those kind of guys, the tight end Fedoni, they're all kind of getting on the same page late in the season here. I think Dante Dowdell, he's kind of held strong in there. And I think it'll be very interesting to see what they do against Iowa. To me, Iowa is going to be one of the better defenses they're going to have faced all year. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this offense matches up against that defense. On the other side, I know you're going to talk about Iowa's offense a little more here. That was a question coming into the season, going up against a very, touted Nebraska defense that's very senior laden, going to have a lot of guys off that defense going into next year. Still, very stout defense. For me, I can't wait to see how this plays out. Chris, tell me about Iowa.
Yeah, Christian. As we know, Iowa 7-4 this year. Last week they beat Maryland on the road 29-13. Let's talk about their offense a little bit here. I'll go through a few stats, as you guys know. I will say this about Iowa. The offense has been better, actually, in previous years. Right now, they're averaging 29.4 points per game. I'm saying 29.4 points per game, Christian. That's 55th best in the country. That's about double of what they were last year. I think last year they averaged right around 14 or 15. Believe it or not, still won 10 games that way, but much better this season. Now, they ranked, though, this is such a weird deal. They ranked, though, I think like 101st in total offense. They're good at once they get in the red zone, they'll score, but they offensively it's a very weird game because with Iowa. And what I want to say is what I mean by that is like they run the football, right? They're 13th in the country in rushing. They're 128th in the nation in passing. We talked about Army and Navy a couple weeks ago on this show. Iowa's very similar. I mean, they don't run the triple option, but I mean, boy, they run the shit out of the football. They don't throw it at all, can't throw it at all. And we know they're very one-dimensional. So the quarterback here, this is kind of interesting too. They're going to be starting this Jackson Stratton kid. I think he's their third-string quarterback at this point. I know McNamara was banged up, and I can't think of the other guy they had fill in. He didn't do as well as Sullivan or something like that. This kid Stratton's going to get the start here. He's basically a game manager. Honestly, I hate to say that about quarterbacks, but that's what he was last week against Maryland Christian. He was 10 of 14 for 76 yards, no touchdowns, no turnovers. Where Iowa, really butters their bread here is with the guy, Caleb Johnson at running back. This kid is a stud. He doesn't get talked about near enough, by the way. He's got 223 carries on the year for almost 1,500 yards, 21 touchdowns. He's averaging almost 7 yards a carry. That is very, very impressive, especially with that amount of carries on the season. So like I said, I was going to run the football. As far as the passing game goes, there ain't much to talk about here. Jacob Gill, he's their leading receiver with 31 catches. Tight end Luke Lachey, he's second with only 25 catches. Like I said, if anybody's watching this, they know that Iowa doesn't throw the ball a ton, so not much to talk about there. Defensively, you talked about it a little bit. They're pretty damn good. They're giving up 17.7 points per game. That's 12th best in the nation. They're 17th in total defense, 26th against the run, and 39th against the pass. We know Iowa, like I said, great defense year in, year out under Ferentz. I expect them to try to shut down Nebraska's rushing game here in this one, Christian, and make Dylan Raiola throw the football. Not that Dylan Raiola can't throw the football, but you're basically making a team one-dimensional. That's what Iowa wants to do. That's what they do almost every game they've ever played in, honestly. And, so with my prediction here, man, we know this, and I want to talk about this for a second. One thing we don't talk about Iowa enough is they don't beat themselves. If you guys don't know this, it's kind of interesting stat with Iowa. They are number one in the country with fewest penalties per game. They're also 29th in best in the country in turnovers. They don't turn the ball over. Nebraska's going to have to play a perfect game here. Excuse me. And also, Christian, you alluded to it. Last time we played in Iowa, we did win, which was huge. But right now, since Nebraska's joined the Big Ten in 2011, Iowa's owned us, man. They're 9-4 against this lifetime. But I don't give a shit here, Christian. Give me the Huskers 20, Iowa 17.
Yeah, very interesting there. We didn't consult on this, Chris. I've got Nebraska 17, Iowa 21.